Right, New Zealand economic history. New Zealand's economic history is marked by several distinct phases, each shaped by global events, domestic policies, and the nation's unique geographic and social context. Here is an overview. Pre-European economy. Before European contact, the Māori economy was based on subsistence agriculture, fishing and hunting. Trade was conducted through bartering and gift exchanges. Early European settlement, 1840s to 1880s. Treaty of Waitangi, 1840. This treaty between the British Crown and Māori chiefs led to increased European settlement. Pastoral farming. Sheep farming became the backbone of the economy, with wool being the primary export. Gold rushes, 1860s. The discovery of gold led to economic booms in regions like Otago and the West Coast. Agricultural expansion, 1880s to 1930s. Refrigeration. The introduction of refrigerated shipping in the 1880s allowed New Zealand to export meat and dairy products, leading to economic growth. Dairy industry. The dairy industry expanded significantly, becoming a major export sector. Great Depression. New Zealand, like many other countries, was severely affected by the global economic downturn in the 1930s. Post-World War II boom, 1945 to the 1970s. Economic growth. The post-war period saw significant economic growth driven by high global demand for agricultural products. Welfare state. The government introduced extensive social welfare programs and developed infrastructure. Welfare state. The government introduced extensive social welfare programs and developed infrastructure. Trade. The United Kingdom was a major trading partner, especially for agricultural exports. Economic challenges and reforms, 1970s to the 1990s. Oil shocks. The oil crises of the 1970s led to economic difficulties, including inflation and unemployment. Loss of UK market. The UK joined the European Economic Community, EEC, in 1973, reducing New Zealand's preferential access to its market. Rogernomics. In the mid-1980s, Finance Minister Roger Douglas introduced market-oriented reforms, including deregulation, privatisation of state assets, and reduction of tariffs and subsidies. Contemporary economy, 2000s till present. Diversification. The economy diversified beyond agriculture to include tourism, education and technology. Free trade agreements. New Zealand has signed multiple free trade agreements, including with China, Australia, and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP. Resilience. The economy has shown resilience in the face of global financial crises and the COVID-19 pandemic, with government support and a strong focus on sustainability and innovation. Key industries. Agriculture remains a significant sector, especially dairy, meat and wool. Tourism, a major industry attracting millions of visitors annually. Forestry and fishing, important export sectors. Technology, growing sector with a focus on software development and innovation. Current trends, sustainability, increasing focus on sustainable practices in agriculture and other industries. Innovation, investment in technology and innovation to drive future growth. Trade, continuing to develop and expand trade relationships globally. New Zealand's economic history reflects its adaptability and resilience, evolving from a reliance on agricultural exports to a more diversified and innovative economy. Pastoral farming. Pastoral farming in New Zealand has played a central role in shaping the country's economic and social development. Here is an overview of its history and impact. Early beginnings, 1840s to 1870s. Introduction by European settlers. Pastoral farming began with European settlers in the mid-19th century who brought sheep and cattle to New Zealand. Land acquisition. Large tracts of land were acquired from Māori through purchases and, controversially, through confiscation, enabling the establishment of extensive farms. Growth and development, 1870s to 1930s. Expansion of sheep farming. Sheep farming quickly became the dominant agricultural activity. By the 1880s, New Zealand had millions of sheep, primarily for wool production. Refrigeration revolution. The introduction of refrigerated shipping in the 1880s transformed the industry by allowing the export of frozen meat and dairy products to distant markets, particularly the United Kingdom. This development greatly expanded the market and profitability for New Zealand pastoral farmers. Economic boom. The booming pastoral sector contributed to significant economic growth and infrastructure development in New Zealand, with many rural communities. Oh my God. Economic boom. The booming pastoral sector contributed to significant economic growth and infrastructure development in New Zealand, with many rural communities thriving on sheep and cattle farming. The Golden Age, 1940s to 1960s. Post-World War II prosperity. The post-war period was a golden age for pastoral farming. High global demand for wool, meat and dairy products, especially for Britain, fueled economic prosperity. Government support. Government policies supported the sector through subsidies, research and infrastructure development, further boosting productivity and export capacity. Challenges and adaptation. 1970s to 1990s. Economic shocks. The oil shocks of the 1970s and the United Kingdom's entry into the European Economic Community, EEC, in 1973, which reduced preferential access for New Zealand exports, posed significant challenges. Reforms and deregulation. The 1980s brought economic reforms under Rogernomics, which included the removal of agricultural subsidies and the deregulation of the sector. Farmers had to adapt to a more market-driven environment, leading to increased efficiency and diversification. Modern era, 2000s till present. Diversification. Pastoral farming has diversified beyond sheep farming to include beef and dairy cattle, deer and other livestock. Dairy farming in particular has seen substantial growth and now surpasses wool and meat in economic importance. Sustainability. There is a growing emphasis on sustainable farming practices addressing environmental concerns such as water usage, soil health, and greenhouse gas emissions. Technology and innovation. Advances in agricultural technology, including precision farming, genetics and data analytics, are being integrated to improve productivity and sustainability. Economic and social impact. Economic contribution. Pastoral farming remains a cornerstone of New Zealand's economy. Economic and social impact. Economic contribution. Pastoral farming remains a cornerstone of New Zealand's economy, contributing significantly to GDP, employment and export earnings. Rural communities. The industry supports many rural communities, providing livelihoods and contributing to regional development. Cultural significance. Pastoral farming is an integral part of New Zealand's cultural heritage, shaping the national identity and landscape. Key regions. Canterbury, known for extensive sheep and dairy farming. Waikato, a major dairy farming region. Otago and Southland, key areas for sheep and beef farming. Pastoral farming has been a fundamental driver of New Zealand's economic growth and development. Its evolution from early sheep farming to a diversified and technologically advanced sector reflects the adaptability and resilience of New Zealand's agricultural industry. Gold rushes. The gold rushes in New Zealand were significant events that had profound impacts on the country's economic, social and demographic development. Here is an overview. Early discoveries. Coromandel Gold Rush, 1852. The first significant discovery of gold in New Zealand occurred in the Coromandel Peninsula, sparking the initial interest in gold mining. However, it did not lead to a large-scale rush. Major gold rushes, the Otago Gold Rush, 1861, the discovery of gold at Gabriel's Gully near Lawrence by Gabriel Reid in May 1861 led to New Zealand's first major gold rush. Thousands of prospectors flocked to Otago from around the world, leading to rapid population growth and economic development in the region. West Coast Gold Rush, 1864 to 1867. Gold discoveries in the West Coast region, particularly around Hokitika and Greymouth, led to another significant rush. The harsh and rugged terrain of the West Coast made mining challenging, but the region saw substantial development and migration during this period. Impact on economy and infrastructure. Economic boom. The gold rushes brought significant economic benefits with increased trade, investment and wealth creation. Gold exports became a major contributor to New Zealand's economy during the 1860s. Infrastructure development. The influx of miners and associated businesses led to the rapid development of towns, roads, ports and other infrastructure. Towns like Dunedin and Hokitika grew rapidly and became important commercial centres. Social and demographic changes, population growth. The gold rushes attracted thousands of people from around the world, particularly from Australia, Europe, the United States and China. This led to a diverse and multicultural population in the goldfields. Urbanisation. Many new towns and settlements sprang up around the goldfields, leading to increased urbanisation. Some of these towns thrived and grew into major cities, while others declined after the gold ran out. Chinese immigrants. Chinese miners, often facing discrimination and harsh working conditions, played a significant role in the gold rushes. Their presence added to the multicultural fabric of New Zealand society. Challenges and decline. Environmental impact. Gold mining had significant environmental impacts, including deforestation, river pollution and landscape alteration. Decline. As gold became harder to find, many miners left the goldfields, leading to a decline in some towns and settlements. However, the infrastructure and population growth initiated during the gold rushes had lasting benefits for the regions involved. Legacy. Economic diversification. The wealth generated from gold mining helped fund other economic activities and infrastructure projects, contributing to New Zealand's broader economic development. Cultural heritage. The gold rushes left a lasting legacy in New Zealand's cultural heritage, with many historic sites, museums and festivals celebrating this important period in the country's history. Notable goldfields and towns. Gabriel's Gully, the site of the initial Otago gold rush. Arrowtown and Queenstown, prominent towns that grew from the Otago gold rush. Hokitika and Greymouth, key centres during the West Coast gold rush. Gold rushes were transformative events in New Zealand's history, driving economic growth, population expansion and significant social change. They played a crucial role in shaping the development of the nation during the 19th century. Coromandel Gold Rush. The Coromandel Gold Rush was one of the earliest gold rushes in New Zealand and played a significant role in the country's early mining history. Here's an overview of the Coromandel Gold Rush. Early discoveries in the start of the rush. Initial discovery 1852. The Coromandel Peninsula, located on the North Island of New Zealand, was the site of the first significant gold discovery in the country. Charles Ring found gold near the town of Coromandel in 1852. Rush begins. Ring's discovery sparked interest and led to a small-scale gold rush. However, the rush did not gain the same level of frenzy as later gold rushes in Otago and the west coast. Development of the goldfields. Mining techniques. Early mining was mostly alluvial, with miners panning for gold in rivers and streams. Mining techniques. Early mining was mostly alluvial, with miners panning for gold in rivers and streams. As surface gold became scarce, miners turned to quartz reef mining, which involved extracting gold from hard rock. Infrastructure. The influx of miners led to the establishment of mining camps and small settlements. Roads and basic infrastructure were developed to support the mining activities. Challenges and decline. Difficult conditions. The Coromandel Peninsula's rugged terrain and dense forests made mining challenging. The area's isolational cement that supplies and equipment were difficult to transport. Limited yields. Compared to later gold rushes in New Zealand, the Coromandel Gold Rush produced relatively modest yields. Many miners left the area in search of more lucrative opportunities elsewhere. Impact on the region. Economic contributions. Despite its challenges, the Coromandel Gold Rush contributed to the local economy by attracting investment and increasing trade. The gold extracted provided an early boost to New Zealand's economy. Population growth. The gold rush brought an influx of people to the Coromandel region, including miners from Australia, Europe, and other parts of New Zealand. This led to a temporary increase in population and the development of new communities. Legacy. Historic sites. Today the Coromandel Peninsula is known for its historic gold mining sites. Many of the original mining areas and equipment are preserved as part of the region's heritage. Tourism. The gold rush history contributes to the Coromandel Peninsula's appeal as a tourist destination. Visitors can explore historic mining towns, visit museums, and learn about the early days of New Zealand's gold mining industry. Environmental impact. Like other gold rushes, the Coromandel Gold Rush left a mark on the landscape. Remnants of old mining operations and altered waterways are still visible in some areas. Key locations. Coromandel Town, the epicentre of the gold rush, which saw significant activity during the early 1850s. Thames, another important town that later became a major centre for gold mining in the region, especially during the boom of the late 1860s. Conclusion. The Coromandel Gold Rush, though not as large or prolonged as other gold rushes in New Zealand, was significant in setting the stage for the country's mining industry. It contributed to early economic development and population growth in the Coromandel Peninsula and left a lasting legacy in the region's history and heritage. Otago Gold Rush. The Otago Gold Rush was one of the most significant and transformative events in New Zealand's history. It marked the first major gold rush in the country and had far-reaching impacts on its economy, society and development. Here's an overview of the Otago Gold Rush. Discovering and beginning. Gabriel Gully's 1861. The Otago Gold Rush began with the discovery of gold by Gabriel Reid at Gabriel's Gully, near Lawrence, in May 1861. Reed's discovery led to a rapid influx of prospectors to the area. Initial rush. News of the discovery spread quickly, attracting thousands of prospectors from within New Zealand, Australia and other parts of the world. Boom period. Population explosion. The gold rush led to a dramatic increase in the population of Otago. Dunedin, the main city in the region, became a bustling centre of activity and commerce, growing rapidly in size and importance. Economic impact. The influx of miners and the wealth generated from the gold significantly boosted the local economy. Businesses, banks and services sprang up to support the mining community. Infrastructure development. The need to support the growing population of mining activities led to the development of roads, bridges and other infrastructure. Railways were also constructed to connect the goldfields with ports and markets. Mining activities. Alluvial mining. Early mining focused on alluvial gold, with miners panning for gold in rivers and streams. This method required relatively simple equipment and provided immediate returns. Quartz reef mining. As the easily accessible alluvial gold was exhausted, miners turned to quartz reef mining, which involved extracting gold from hard rock. This method required more advanced technology and significant investment. Social and cultural impact. Multicultural population. The gold rush attracted a diverse population, including people from Europe, Australia, the United States and China. This influx of immigrants contributed to the multicultural fabric of New Zealand society. Social changes. The rapid population growth and economic prosperity brought about significant social changes. New communities were established and there was a sense of optimism and opportunity. Decline and legacy. Decline. By the late 1860s, the initial boom began to wane as the easily accessible gold deposits were depleted. Many miners moved on to new gold fields in New Zealand or Australia, while others settled in the region, transitioning to other forms of employment. Long-term impact. The wealth generated from the gold rush laid the foundation for Otago's long-term economic development. The infrastructure and institutions established during this period continued to benefit the region for decades. Historic sites. Many towns and sites from the gold rush era have been preserved and are now important historical and tourist attractions. Places like Gabriel's Gully in Arrowtown offer visitors a glimpse into the past. Key locations. Gabriel's Gully, the site of the initial gold discovery, which remains a historic landmark. Dunedin, the city that became the commercial and administrative centre of the gold rush. Arrowtown, a well-preserved gold rush town that provides insights into the era's history and lifestyle. Conclusion. The Otago Gold Rush was a pivotal event in New Zealand's history, transforming the region and contributing significantly to its economic and social development. The legacy of the gold rush is still evident today in the vibrant communities, infrastructure and cultural heritage of Otago. Oh, it's getting a bit long. 23 minutes. Well, let's just have that there. Maybe people can be fast readers. I don't think I'll read it. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. Well, there's a lot there, isn't there? Right, fabulous. Let's bring it to an end.